while across the EU, the European Union, in France, in Belgium, in Austria, Italy, in Britain, the rise of right-wing authoritarian fascism is on the march. Anti-migrant racism is on the march. And NATO proxy war against Russia rages behind the leadership of the U.S. in Ukraine. The military-industrial machine, never before in the last 50 years has there been a time like now. Fascist, authoritarian usurpation of a questionable electoral college system, militarized police repression, repression of human rights, and more need to be addressed now. Yet we have three and somewhat radical reform campaigns for the presidency of the United States. Three. And each one of these campaigns is talking about how the duopoly corporate political parties are not an alternative to the liberation of working people. Each one of these campaigns is saying essentially the same thing, advocating for the same people, centering their campaigns around the same reforms. Yet they are running separate campaigns when young people in progressive movements are searching for a viable alternative to the corporate-dominated political narrative. The potential for creation of a mass progressive movement, empowerment of organizations and people fighting for the liberation of their communities is a necessity. Unity is a necessity. Yet it seems that these three campaigns are oblivious to this historical moment, although they claim the opposite in their individual campaign literature. Here's a flash from the Green Party candidate, Jill Stein. Our democracy, quote, is on life support. Belief in our political system is at a historical low. And the number of Americans who feel that neither establishment party represents them is at a record high. We need to work towards equity and honor the human rights of every individual. It's time to come together to ensure true justice for all. This is Jill Stein of the Green Party. She's calling for unity. She's calling for justice for all. But she's running her own campaign. Huh. Here's Cornel West, my homeboy. He said he entered the 24 presidential contest at a time in which he describes a national crisis of moral bankruptcy and spiritual obscenity driven by a derelict duopoly of both major parties is what's at hand. It's Cornel. He asserts that running as an independent candidate affords me the opportunity and duty to deliver policy prescriptions incorporated by and for the people, instead of political parties beholden corporations and special interest groups who feel no solidarity with the poor. He says his campaign is to empower poor and working people everywhere and stands as a pivotal monument in history. This is Cornel. He says our aim, his campaign's aim, will always be to unite in solidarity with movements of truth and justice. Is there something I missed there? Let me say that again. He said our aim is and will always be to unite in solidarity with movements of truth and justice. People who seek a choice beyond empire, beyond white supremacy, capitalism, and patriarchy, and the confines of corporate-dominated two-party systems. Right on, Cornel. Right on. He said says, we will end the rule of the billionaires once and for all. No, that's Sister Claudia that says that. She's running another party campaign. All three of these people are saying the exact same thing we just said here. And they all have an individual presidential campaign. So, I'm using this occasion, and soon this will be on Black Power Media and on the podcast, hopefully by tomorrow, in which I'm calling them out. I'm asking them, why don't the three of you lead a campaign to build a national united front? Why? If you don't want to give up your personal campaign, it's okay. But let's agree on a set of principles so that everybody could join this front. And that everywhere you go, you not only talk about your individual campaign and the particulars about that, but you enjoin people to join this front. Because if we build this front now, in this election year, at this time, given the consciousness of all of these kids that got beat up on these campuses because they stood against genocide, if we build a mass movement right now, God knows, Allah knows best what it would become in 4 years. It might become a third political party. Because who are these kids going to grow up and vote for? The people that stick the police on them? I don't think so. So I'm challenging these three candidates to come forward and to begin to advocate and build and organize for a united front against white supremacy, anti-colonialism, and anti-imperialism, and finally against anti-democratic fascism. So this is my message to them, and I'm very appreciative that I was able to deliver this message talking to you.
Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Takbir. Allahu Akbar. Takbir. Allahu Akbar.
So I want to say with that, Allah is merciful, and I'm really graced to have the opportunity of talking to you. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Takbir. Takbir. Takbir.